How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome to another edition of Box Talk. Today is just a quick hit review of the following weekend. We've got 4 major fights over here, both UK based and US based.
3.5.
Let's start with the first one. We're going to look at Ricky Burns versus Terence Crawford. Ricky Burns had a very tough year last year. Controversial decisions, broken draws, got his arse whooped by Beltran. And now we come to undefeated Terence Crawford, slick boxer, ready to go toe-to-toe over in the UK. Ade, what do you think?
I like Ricky Burns a lot. His interviews, everything about Ricky Burns as a person, I like. There's nothing. One of the most humble thing, but he's a world champion. He draws 10, 15,000 in Scotland, so he's obviously he's a major player up there. He loses his title. He loses his title. It's almost like there's so many lives a cat can have, and I think it's almost a shame for him that this is a mandatory defence because they pushed the date back a bit further, so obviously they can repair the jaw. He almost needed, for me, another fight in between this one before he takes on Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford isn't known as a banger, but you don't need to be for someone who's got a broken jaw. We see how it affected Victor Ortiz and how Victor Ortiz come back from it. You're nervous, you're on the back foot, and you're fighting an unbeaten American who's fast, he's brash. I watched Terence Crawford's fights, and he can fight. Yeah. There's no two ways about it, he can fight. And I think he takes the title from Ricky Burns. And I don't like Senex, I like Ricky Burns.
I agree with you. I think Ricky Burns is a very nice guy, very humble guy, but he needed another fight in between. Having the 2 controversial decisions he's had and the way he got injured with his broken jaw, he needed a warm-up fight and something to take the cobwebs off his head and off his ring rust. Yeah. He needs that confidence builder where he fought someone who's a name, who's credible, but no longer world class. Maybe a former world champion who's 3-4 years past his prime. So, it gives you a good name, but it's not a risk. Fighting young, fresh Terence Crawford right now, after those 2 terrible decisions, when the first guy quit and then the Beltran one. The Beltran fight, let's be fair, Ricky Burns barely won 2 rounds, if that.
Wow, if that. And you can give props for bravery, but so we're not in a bravery contest. This is a boxing competition, and he lost the fight.
It sounds bad because Ricky Burns is such a nice guy, but Beltran's a nice guy as well. So it's like you're punishing one, punishing the other. You can't. It's not really fair. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Burns, I think, could be a world champion again in the future. But I think right now his time's done, and he's going to need a couple fights to get himself back on track. But I think unfortunately he will lose his title this weekend. Yeah, and
you mentioned Burns could be the thing for me with Burns, and I think this is where the problem lies, is that if Burns does lose, and I think he will. I don't know if it'll be a stoppage, possibly could be, or a point decision, because Burns is extremely tough, extremely brave. He gets sucked into this English-British lightweight domestic scene with the likes of Gavin Rees, Kevin Mitchell, Anthony Crolla. He's on the level now where he's world class. He's way above them. I don't want him to have a fight against Anthony Crolla, for example. I think Anthony Crolla's a level below Burns.
Take out 2013 for Ricky Burns. He was clearly the top 3 in the division with Broner, himself, and was it DeMarco?
It was Anton DeMarco. Yeah, it was DeMarco, I think.
Yeah, it was DeMarco. One of those guys.
Was it Vasquez? I think
but he was the top 3 in the division.
Legitimately
the top 3. Broner's gone, and Broner was the biggest threat for him. Yeah. So really, when you look at it right now, all the other titles holders, Burns can beat and have. It's just that but Beltran's a tough guy. No disrespect there. The guy who fought previously was unknown, so it was an unknown point. There were no videos on YouTube, nothing about the guy, so you never know what you had in front of you. And we all know about Crawford, who's fresh up and coming. So these are fights that are style-wise not really ideal for him. But there are other titles holders out there that are ideal for him. And he is a name in the division. He does draw, he does make money. So whatever happens this weekend, I think it's a big comeback for Ricky Burns.
Definitely. I think Ricky Burns has everything to come back. He's got the will, he's got the strength, and he's got one of the best promoters in the business now to back him. And he's a draw in Scotland. Regardless if he loses or not, his next fight in Scotland, he'll still get 10, 15,000. I think the scary thing for me, him fighting Crawford, is you look at his last 2 fights, Crawford is supposed to be a level above these in American talk. The way people talk about Crawford in America is a step above Beltran, who's most people unfortunately just think of as Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner and a glorified sparring partner, and he's definitely a step below. I can't remember the guy's name that he fought. That says a lot. I just think Crawford is a lot hungrier. He's coming, and that jaw injury. I mean, look, Eddie Hearn was talking after the Beltran fight that he might not never fight again, let alone fight Crawford. Yeah. So that kind of says a lot of where Eddie Hearn thinks he is as well. I just think this fight's come far too soon. It's unfortunate. It's a mandatory. He had to fight him or he loses the title. And that's the only reason he's time. He would never take this as a voluntary defence, put it that way. Okay. And I think it's too risky.
Quick hit. So you're going with Crawford?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Crawford to win, late stoppage or wide points. And it's one of the ones where now, if it is a point decision, Crawford has to take it because of the controversial.
I don't think it'll be wide points, but I think Crawford takes it on points. Moving forward, a very interesting match. We've got Orlando Salido, tough, gritty, world champion, taking on one fight, novice, greatest amateur fighter known to man under the sun. The words that come out of people's mouths about Lomachenko is unbelievable. This guy could kill Superman right now. Second fight, world title. Adi, what do you think?
First of all, I don't know if everyone even knows this, but Rigondeaux is actually taking to Twitter to say, I am the greatest Olympian and the greatest amateur fighter there ever was. But look,
I thought that was Mark Breeden. But anyway.
Yeah, but look, I think like, there's two things, and this is the two things that have to stand out for you. A, is the division that weak that a guy with only one fight can come and really be not only challenged, but actually be favourite to win? Or is he that good? I think we're in the middle of both. I think he's right in the middle of both. He is that good. You saw his first fight. He didn't fight a bum. He got him out. He's good. And what does the amateur experience count for? I mean, a lot of people say amateur experience in terms of winning all those titles count for 15 or 20 pro fights anyway. That's what they're saying. That's why they're trying to rush Luke Campbell and Anthony Joshua right now, because they say you're already above fighting bums.
The domestic level.
But Cido ain't no bum.
You know, it's a seasoned real pro.
This is why I'm shocked that Lomachenko's favourite.
Yeah. I tell you what, guys out there, please correct me because I'm not sure, but off the top of my head, I can remember one Olympian going to his first or second fight for a world title shot, and that was either with Floyd Patterson or with Muhammad Ali, but I'm 90% sure it was Floyd Patterson.
Yeah. And
he got stopped in about 2 rounds or 3 rounds. It was not a pretty sight. Yeah. Besides that, there was always rumours about Telford Stevenson coming from the Olympic, two gold medals to go fight Ali in his first pro fight, knocking that £5 million. It never happened. The always consensus is that the season pro, okay, in any sports, the pro will beat the amateur. No matter how you cut it and put it together, the pro will beat the amateur. But you're talking about a good pro against most probably the greatest or one of the greatest amateur fighters ever. That changes the demographics.
But you know what? I'm going to interject. And the reason I'm going to is that there's something about the amateur game now compared to when the guy fought Floyd Patterson, is that amateurs now seem to get this tag as being the greatest amateurs because they stay amateur for so much longer.
Yeah.
Amateurs before, it was almost like you're an amateur between the ages of 15 and 20, you go to the Olympics, then you turn pro straight after. It was that flip side. Amateurs now seem to be, I mean, Luke Campbell, for example, was 26. Amateurs now, Audrey Harrison won the, 30. Amateurs now seem to stay on for so much longer. So that kind of takes the bit away from Lomachenko for me. He's supposed to be the best amateur ever because he stayed amateur for so much longer than anyone else has. Similar to like Rigondeaux as well. He's amateur for so long, where guys back in the day seem to stay amateur until they're about 20, won Olympics, then go. There was never 4 world champions and
they'll get a Golden Glove,
get a world championship
or something, and
then be an Olympian, then disappear. Guys now seem to stay amateur for so long, so that's what's making me feel I'm a bit nervous for Lomachenko. So he is a seasoned pro, but there's something about Lomachenko where I don't know if this hype machine Aaron's creating around him is making me feel like he's got a chance.
Who are you going with? What do you think? Your gut feeling?
Gut feeling. Lomachenko stops him. I don't know why I feel that. I just feel like something about this Russian, Eastern European invasion. They're taking over. I think Lomachenko stops him late.
I tell you what, I can see people saying that, but I'm going to go with Salido. There's no shame losing your second fight to a world champion, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think Salido is just too hard, too seasoned, too prime, and that's it. As much as Salido has his faults, this is a guy that's been 12 tough, hard rounds with monsters. This is not 4-round fights. There's not 2-round fights, 2-minute fights.
Same headgear.
And again, anyone who's been in boxing gym and watched amateurs, good amateurs fight pros, they know what I'm talking about. And this is why I'm going with Salido. Moving forward, we've got main event on that same card. We've got Chavez versus Vera II. Chavez, if you commit any weight class in the world, it's not 168. And that was the fact signed that I think as of now. That might change anything into the next 2-3 hours to between 168, 175 and 200 pounds. And then what do you think?
I hate Chavez Jr. I'm sorry, I'm going to get some stick for saying this. I really dislike this kid. I don't know what it is. I think he's lived off his dad's name. He's had no amateur experience. He's got the fights. Look, he can fight a bit. You would be. Look, if my dad was Mike Tyson, I'll be able to have a go with someone a bit. If my dad was Nigel Benn, he's got the best trainers. His dad's paid for the best trainers. He's got everything going for him. And this kid just does not take it seriously and come in on weight. I do not understand it. But he's going to win this fight. Whatever, if it goes to points, he's won it. I mean, Vera could knock him down 20 times. and he'll somehow get a decision.
Let's remember this, yeah? Chavez walked around over £200 or around £200, yeah?
Yeah.
And he gets a lot of credit for the Martinez fight for the last round, but you've got a very small guy fighting a very big guy who was taking directs to lose weight and all sorts of madness. Vera fought in the contender at 147.
Yes, he did.
Was it 147?
No, I think
149. 149.
Yeah,
it was a catch weight, yeah? Vera's is a small guy who's fought guys, and Vera, again, just like Cido, is a tough seasoned pro.
Great spot.
Who knows...
Contender was great.
Yeah, great shot, yeah. I love it. But, you know, he's one of those guys that no matter how you cut him out, again, Vera, typical spoiler. Guys he's supposed to beat, but guys that are supposed to beat him, he beats them quite comfortably. Just ask Sergio Mora.
Sergio Mora, yeah.
Point is, Vera has all the skill in the world, more than Chavez, but Chavez is just bigger, stronger, and I'll arguably say tougher.
Yeah, no, he is. And it's almost, look, Chavez is a multi-millionaire already. He's the king of Mexico. I mean,
his dad's the king of Mexico.
His dad's the king of Mexico, and he's the unheralded king, the one they want to crown, and he can't. I think he's got far too much to live up to. And look, so far he's had a good career. You know, he's only lost once. Yeah, and that's the Martinez, and that's no shame.
He's had a good career. He's done a great career. There's no shame in his career. It's his attitude, the way he carries, the way he gets away with things. I mean, when you fought Andy Lee and the drug test, he apparently jumped in the limo straight after.
Didn't want to do it
in his dressing gown and everything because he wants to avoid it. We know this stuff is dodgy with this guy. We know he's not doing well, and for that, I want him to lose. Unfortunately, he's going to win.
Look, I think boxing, and it sounds stupid what I'm going to say, boxing almost needs him to win. And the reason I say it is because everyone under the sun seems to be calling out Chavez Jr. Golovkin's now called him out. Froch is looking for him after the Groves fight, Andre Ward, because he's a big name. He brings big money to the table. And that's what boxing's about. He can fill a stadium as well. How? I don't know, but he seems to be able to do it. So, you know, I'm going to give it to him. I think he will, if he's serious and he comes in under the weight and he looks good in the first opening rounds, I think he'll go on late to stop Vera. But you never know.
I'll go with Chavez as well. Final one for this weekend.
This is the hard
fight. We got our former Olympic gold medalist Chavez Jr versus a guy that unfortunately I can't pronounce his name.
Unbeaten. That's one thing he is.
Yeah. Chavez Jr, again, funny guy.
I like Chavez Jr, and I think he is. This is strange because this is the guy that won the Olympics when no one expected him to do so. I mean, no one expected him to do so. After the Olympics, he had this great performance. He beat Paul Smith in Liverpool, became the British champion, European champion, I think Commonwealth champion, but don't correct me if I'm wrong. No, actually, he didn't. British and European, definitely. I think George Groves had Commonwealth. Yeah. He got beat by George Groves in what was a very controversial decision at the time.
Cosmic fight.
And he seems to have just literally... Mick Hennessy has put him under the bus.
Okay.
I mean, almost like he's done to Carl Froch for Carl Froch's start of the career. He has disappeared. He's fighting in, Kent? Yeah. He's fighting in Bristol. These ain't boxing towns.
I'll tell you the thing with Chavez Jr, yeah, and I don't blame Mick Hennessy at all. Chavez Jr, after the Groves fight, Chavez Jr falls asleep in the ring. He boxes well, and after round 5, round 6, he just had attention lunges, and he just falls apart, and he wins the round 8, and when he puts it together, his counter punching is nice, combination punching is nice, when he puts it together. Similar like Kevin Johnson, got loads of skill, but never uses it.
That's that holder.
Never uses it.
I think Chavez Jr is a bit more...
I don't know about that. They fall asleep. They both of them just fall asleep. They have no injury. They wake up in round 9 and go, "Oh, I need to win this fight," and then they go forward. That's Chavez Jr's problem. The guy he's fighting, I think he should win. I don't know much about the guy he's fighting. Chavez Jr is clearly the more technically smarter and technically gifted athlete.
More seasoned now as well. Yeah,
but it's all mental for Chavez Jr. I think if he puts it together mentally, he got something to go.
See, the thing is for Chavez Jr, you can understand his frustration. A lot of people talk about, and especially in sports as well, and in life in general, motivation. Now, you're seeing a guy that lost a split decision. It was a close decision to George Groves. George Groves has gone like that. He's been, he got signed by Eddie Hearn, signed fight basis. I think 3-fight contract, and he's literally gone Sky TV, box office. Chavez Jr has gone Channel 5, Channel 5, Channel 5. Oh, I'm still on Channel 5. And it is so disheartening. They're talking about him fighting Badu for eliminating for Beaker's title, but with Mick Hennessy, I just don't even know if that's even going to come to fruition. You just don't know, and I can understand his frustration. And that's part of being motivated for a fight. Surely you need to know what's coming next.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Mick Hennessy, he honestly doesn't seem to be any... I don't know what it is about Mick Hennessy, but even when I watch his interviews, he seems to not know what's going on himself. Yeah. I mean, Tyson Fury's obviously now signed with Frank Warren, or I say signed, but they've done a pro... Yeah. And that cross promotion, that says a lot, really.
Same thing with Chris Jr. It's got the same cross promotion, but Chavez Jr went signed that cross promotion deal when they got the same promoter.
Strange.
Very strange, very strange. I'm going James DeGale on points, but James DeGale needs to seriously make some serious moves. Put your head on because you're a talented guy. You got everything going for you. Know what I mean? Move forward, don't move sideways.
No, you're right. I think James DeGale needs to almost show something in this fight. I think, and I want him to. I mean, he's been talking about he's had knee surgery recently, and that's kind of affected him in his last few fights. He said the knee's fine now. All boxers seem to say that I'm in the best condition of my life ever. Everyone seems to say that. I hope for his sake he is, because hopefully 2014. I kind of tweeted about him recently. He's one of my one to watch in 2014. I expect big things to happen for James DeGale. He needs to get into this mix. There's a really good super middleweight mix now, and a lot of middleweights come up super middleweight as well. He needs to be in that mix. If he doesn't this year, I don't think he ever will be. So I'm going for James DeGale stoppage.
I'll go for James DeGale points. Ade, close the show.
Guys, look, we've got a crazy amount of fights coming up in a few days. I mean, Burns Crawford, we've got Chavez Jr, we've got James DeGale. We've got fights that people want to see. Who do you think wins them all? I mean, what happens to the losers? I mean, does Burns disappear? Does James DeGale step up? Does Chavez Jr finally fight a cruiserweight? What happens, guys? Look, leave your comments below. Email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk and hit us on Twitter, because we'll be there all night.
That's true. And guys, thanks for watching another edition of Box Talk.